Live broadcasts where Africa's Wikimedians talk to, learn from, and explore topics related to the Wikimedia movement in Africa. Wiki in Africa brings each session to you, created by and for African Wikimedians to expand Africa's open movement. Today's guest host is Toshi Precious Friday from Nigeria. Noni Tlatla is our newsreader.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the May edition of WikiAfrica Hour Movement Beyond the Summit. As your regular participants know, WikiAfrica Hour is the voice of African Wikimedians, and it's a space where African Wikimedians share their work and knowledge and digest their realities, events and opportunities and projects they have been part of. Your host for today is Erina Mukuta from Uganda. I'm honored to be your guest host today. I'm part of the Wikimedia User Group Uganda. I'm the program lead for education, and I'm passionate about implementing sustainable education programs within schools here in Uganda, and I was part of the summit. I attended on behalf of my user group, and I'm happy to be your guest host today. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the Wikimedia Summit that was recently held in Berlin. It was recently held in Berlin. We need to understand why is this the last summit and what's the future of summits within the movement, and also to understand the timeline of the movement charter. So we will discuss the summit and what participants got up to at the summit. For viewers online, please comment, let us know where you're calling in from, where you're watching in from, what your experiences were. You can reach out to us through the comment section. I see all you lovely people out there. Tell us in the chat where you're joining us from today. Don't forget to ask any questions that you need to ask. And so right now, we're first going to listen to the WikiAfrica Hour news. We have some exciting WikiAfrica news for you next. But before we do that, we would like to introduce you to Donia, who is our new WikiAfrica production coordinator and the lead ambassador for Wiki in Africa tools. Donia has been actively contributing to Arabic Wikipedia, Wikidata, and Wikimedia Commons since 2019. She's also the founder of Wikimedia Editor Project. Some of you may know Donia from her work as a board member of Egypt Wikimedia User Group and as one of the movement charter ambassadors of the MENA region. Donia has also previously served as a member of the Leadership Development Working Group. We are excited to see where WikiAfrica Hour goes with you involved today. So now we are moving on to the WikiAfrica Hour news from Donia and Noni for the month of May. Thank you.
We start with news about photographic contest. The Wiki Loves Africa team from Wiki in Africa is excited to announce that the Wiki Loves Africa 2024 edition has collected over 14,000 images, 307 videos, and 34 audio files. A huge thank you to the organizers, participants, and everyone involved in making the contest a success. Your contributions have been invaluable. To view these amazing submissions, make sure to go to the comments page for Wiki Loves Africa.
Join the Wiki Loves Earth 2024 photography contest. From May to July, capture and share stunning photos of local natural heritage and scenic landscapes. Organized by Wikimedia chapters, this international competition invites participants to upload their images to Wikimedia Commons, showcases nature reserves, national parks, remarkable gardens, and more to help illustrate articles on Wikipedia and other Wikimedia projects. Join local teams for separate competitions with varying rules and prizes. Visit the Wiki Loves Earth 2024 meta page for more information.
Some news about campaign, community meetings, and events. The Wiki Loves Women team is thrilled to announce the 5th edition of the She Said campaign. Last year's success saw 5,555 new articles and 1,766 improved articles across 18 languages. This year's campaign runs from September 1st to December 31st, 2024. Plan your local event and apply for a grant from the Wikimedia Foundation by June 1st. Don't miss out on this opportunity to make a remarkable impact. Stay tuned for office hours to assist with the grant application process, and make sure to visit the Wiki Loves Women meta page for more information.
Upcoming language community meeting, join on May 31st. The upcoming language community meeting is on May 31st at 16 UTC. This meeting is participant-driven, focusing on language-specific project updates and technical issue discussions. Topics from the last meeting included Minty machine translation, Kiwik's localization efforts, and Bengali Wikisource sorting challenges. If you have ideas or issues to discuss or need interpretation support, contact ssethi@wikimedia.org and add items to the agenda. Make sure to visit the Wikimedia Language Engineering Community Meetings page on MediaWiki to sign up as soon as possible.
The Community Tech team will release a refreshed community wishlist survey with focus areas on July 15th, 2024. This approach allows developers to address multiple wishes by solving underlying problems. The wishlist will remain open year-round, allowing volunteers to submit, review, edit, and discuss wishes in any language without needing to know wiki text. Participants will vote on focus areas instead of individual wishes. For more details, visit the preview of the new wishlist on MetaWiki.
Join the Let's Connect Learning Clinic on Wiktionary and Lexemes. Learn about contributing to Wiktionary and integrating Lexemes on Wikidata. Understand the importance and connection between these projects and discover how to integrate them for the benefit of language communities. This exciting session will take place tomorrow, May 25th. At 14 to 16 UTC. For more details, visit the Let's Connect newsletter page on MetaWiki.
Join the inaugural AfroCreates Wiki Project and Film Initiative from May 18th to June 17th, 2024. Partner with FISPARCO, Africa's largest film festival, this editathon aims to enhance Wikipedia's coverage of Africa's cinema. Participate in online and in-person training sessions to hone your editing skills. Don't miss out on this opportunity to contribute to the rich tapestry of African film history on Wikipedia and its sister project. Register on the Afro Creative Wiki Project page.
Good news! Call for proposals extended for 2024 Francophone Wiki Convention. The call for proposals for 2024 Francophone Wiki Convention is extended until May 31st. Submit your proposals from April 15th to May 31st. The event will be held in Quebec City, Canada, with public conferences on November 2nd to 3rd and pre-conferences for scholarship recipients on October 31st to November 1st. Proposals can include project presentations, case studies, workshops, panels, and more on themes such as governance, education, GLAM, equity, and environment. Visit the Wiki Convention Francophone meta page to submit your proposals.
Lastly, we also have news from the Wikimedia Foundation. Want to change Wikipedia? Apply to be a candidate for the Wikimedia Foundation Board of Trustees election by 23:59 UTC on May 29, 2024. 4 trustees will be elected this year. If over 15 apply, affiliates will shortlist 12 candidates. Voting starts late August, early September. In order to be eligible, over 300 edits need to be completed before August. Visit the Wikimedia Foundation Elections Wiki page for more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Noni and Donia. That was exciting news. Remember, everyone, all the links are on the WikiAfrica Our News page on Meta. Yeah, so let's meet our guests for today. I'm excited. Let's meet Eva Martin. Eva has been working with Wikimedia Deutschland movement in the relations team since 2021. Eva, if you could just give us a short introduction. What is your Wikimedia role today? And what are your most unexpected takeaways from the summit? Welcome, Eva.
Hi, Erina. Thanks for having me. As you said, I'm working Wikimedia Deutschland, who is in the movement relations team. And in the last years, I would say our main focus has been to follow the charter process and like focusing on the implementation of movement strategy, particularly everything that has to do with governance. And that's where we've been organizing the Wikimedia Summit this year. That was mostly focused around the movement charter and basically around the idea of what do the affiliates want when it comes to governance. And I think you say, what's my most unexpected takeaway, right, from the summit?
Yeah, from the summit.
I think I would say, for me, the most unexpected takeaway is the fact that Wikimedians managed to spend 3 days talking about strategy and at the end to actually agree on something. And I know many people had doubts about it. And for me, it was unexpected and I was extremely positively surprised to see that, yeah, basically people managed to agree and converge and align on what were the outcomes of the summits.
Yeah, actually, in that regard, I remember, I think when you were giving some closing remarks and you mentioned, I think that it was just the two of you who had organized the program and the flow. I remember something like that. And to me, that was so unexpected because it went smoothly. I recall talking to an MCDC member at the beginning and she was like, oh, like people have strategy fatigue. I really don't know what I'm going to expect out of this. Mm-hmm. But as we went through it, it was manageable. It was bite-sized, like you could take it and we all came out with something at the end of it without eating each other's heads, you know? So yeah, that was unexpected for me too, and for lots of people actually. Thank you so much, Eva.
Well, thanks for that feedback.
Yeah. Next, we'd like to introduce Ciell. Ciell is a Wikimedian from the Netherlands and is also part of the MCDC. So no pressure, Ciell, seeing as we're talking about strategy. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I think you said it already. I'm a Wikimedian from the Netherlands. I've been on the Movement Charter Drafting Committee since our beginning in November 2021. I'm also an admin on Dutch Wikipedia and an admin on Commons, if people want to know backgrounds. And I'm very excited to be with you again here in WikiAfrica Hour.
Thank you so much, Ciell. So me and Ciell are on the Wiki Loves Monuments Committee. Yeah, the international committee. Her more active than me, but yeah, so we have that in common. So nice to have you, Ciell. Richard is is the current president of Wikimedia New York City. Yes, Richard, welcome.
Hi.
Could you introduce yourself?
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
I'm Richard, user Pharos. I'm here as part of being member of the Movement Charter Drafting Committee. I'm also part of Wikimedia New York City. It was, I've been to the Wikimedia Summit a number of times. Really, it was good to get in touch with people and hear some of their input about the charter. Movement strategy is pretty important. I read I prepared for this role. I read a 600-page book on strategy. And the biggest takeaway I got from that is that the most important and neglected part of strategy is alliances. And I think that I felt a strong sense of alliance at the Wikimedia Summit. And I hope we can push that forward because we're much stronger together than we are apart. Thanks.
Oh, well said. Well said, Richard. I would like now to introduce Rajene. Rajene is the Wikimedia and Library User Group Steering Committee Chair and the Chief Strategy Officer of Wikimedia New York City. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Rajene. Yes, could you tell us more about your role?
Sure. So I'm Rajene Hardeman. I work with Richard at Wikimedia in New York City. Also chair of the Wikipedia Library Users Steering Committee. And this was my first in-person summit. I had gone as a hybrid last year, and I really enjoyed it. I think the keynote speakers that we had at the beginning of the summit really set the tone for collaboration and working on the good for everyone. So it was unexpected to me that we got such a great set of keynote speakers that really set the tone. And I worked a lot during that week, and I am also on the what they're calling the Future Affiliates Gathering Committee with Aafi, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Thank you so much, Rajene. And me too. I think even for me, the speakers that came on before we kicked off, they really set the mood for the summit. The gentleman from Oxfam, where he talked about how the strategy has happened for them and how it makes sense in certain contexts. And but I also liked, was it the facilitators who then told us that if you've ended up in this focus group, give it your all, even if you could be in other 5, just focus on that and give what you can in that group. It made people settled to contribute in what they were given to contribute. So I think that really changed the flow. Yeah, but to me too, that was a good takeaway. Thank you so much, Rajene. So Aafi is joining us from Kashmir. He's the founder of the Urban Community Wikimedia, a thematic user group. And yes, Aafi, can we hear from you? Could you tell us more about your role?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Aafi, currently speaking from Kashmir in India. I lead the Urban Community Wikimedia, a thematic user group, and have been with the movement for the last 5 years now. I'm an admin on Commons, Urdu Wikipedia, and support indie communities particularly. And currently, my role is into capacity development here.
Oh, welcome, Aafi. Aafi is also part of the Future Affiliate Gatherings team, as Rajene had said. So welcome, everyone. I hope we do have a nice time sharing our experiences from the summit. So we'll start off with sharing some of the experiences we had at the summit. Maybe, Richard, you could tell us, why did you attend this summit? What was it? How was it different from the other summits you attended? Yeah.
Yeah. So I attended, as part of the Movement Charter drafting committee. We've been working on the Movement Charter in different drafts, different iterations for the last couple of years. We were able to present a version before the summit, and we wanted to get the input from folks at the summit, sharing their thoughts on the future of the movement, the future of strategy, and particularly on their reactions and input on the charter text, and trying to get as much input as we can from the different folks. Of course, the charter will be voted on by folks in their capacity as affiliates, as well as their capacity as individuals, and we want to make sure that we incorporate as much of their thoughts, because we sit in this in this room with Ciell and the other members of the committee, and we try to write something that's meaningful, but we need to test it against the community to see how they feel, see how they're interpreting some of the words that we've put up, see the models that they're proposing, and it's very helpful to get some of this actual input and see as we actually share it in a wider community.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Richard. Eva, how was it being the organizer? What was your experience? Madness.
But as an organizer, I had a pretty good experience because, as you said, the design we had in mind actually turned out to work. And it was just great. You're working on designing a program and you have an idea in mind for a few months, and then you actually see people in the room and just seeing this diversity of affiliate, and also seeing the people in the room having the conversations, people that usually are not necessarily in the room when decisions are being made. And this was for us the most important, to get the inputs from everyone. But I would love to hear from the perspective of the participants. And also maybe if I can just add something, Erina, because you said that at the summit, we've said it was Nikki and I that designed the program. I just want to make clear here that it wasn't just us. We collaborated with many, many people. This could not have happened otherwise. We also collaborated with the MCDC because obviously they also had an interest in co-designing the program with us. We collaborated with people at the foundation, and yeah, just wanted to make sure that I don't want to take all the credit for the program that we designed at the summit.
Sure, Eva. So Ciell, as one of the collaborators in organizing this, and really as someone who has been active on the MCDC, tell us what was your experience before, during, and after the summit, and really what have been your takeaways as a member of the MCDC?
I was asked the question when I was in Berlin, how I think it was on a Sunday morning. So Sunday was the third and final day of the summit. And someone asked me, so how are you feeling? And I never had such a relaxed weekend in Berlin, because from the Movement Charter Drafting Committee perspective, our role was very different from that in the previous summit. This summit was set up so the affiliates would take the charter content we had produced and make it their own. And we would just walk in the room, maybe answer questions, and it would be up to them, because they were asked for proposals for improvement for us as Movement Charter Drafting Committee. And it was very interesting to hear the affiliates and struggle with the same topics that we had struggled with as a committee. And it is interesting to hear either they landed on the same output or maybe a different output. So that was, for me, it was a great summit. I'm complete. It was great. It was a wonderful weekend in Berlin.
Oh yeah. And I think for me, in regards to the flow of the program, at least my experience was, for those, because there's some people who are listening in who didn't go to the summit, it was organized in topic groups. And before we spread out into the topic groups, people were given a chance to look through and give their opinions, write their opinions about these topic groups. And then when we split to go and discuss this in the different rooms, we were taking everyone's opinion to it. So even if we were divided in two groups, there was an opportunity given to all attendees to look through all the focus groups and be able to put in their input. So I also liked that aspect of the discussion or the flow of things. Yeah, so I think for the team that put in the work to make it flow in that way, it was good. And if there are people out there who attended and have ideas or want to know or have questions for our speakers, feel free to write in the comment section. We'll be able to ask your questions. Rajene, as a participant, you said that was your first time, that was your first in person. And then you find out it's the last. Okay, it will be the last. It was your first and last, yeah? Me too, by the way. That was my first time to attend the summit. And yeah, so how was it for you? What was your experience like? What was your takeaway from it?
I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed every single day that I was there. I loved being in Berlin. I loved our shuttle bus to the conference. I loved talking to people and meeting so many different people. I know we had name tags, but it was really hard to, connect with everybody or with their name tag and to make sure that you met people. So I met a lot of people. The whole break down into topic groups and what we did before. And then we went into our topic groups and we had conversations and we had a lot of Post-its. And when we first got into our topic group, I wasn't really sure how the activity they had set up for us was going to work, because it seemed like it was a little bit to the side. But we went through the activity. Our group, we had, I was in the topic group of conference participants and representation. So we had a scenario, I think everybody did, and it really brought us together in that particular group as to what were the concerns about or the ideas about participants and representation. Talking about, how many for the Global Council and all of that. So that was good. I thought that was a good exercise. And then going back to the main room and walking around and seeing what all the other topics had come up with in terms of their Post-its and making comments. It was a very productive, process-oriented kind of weekend. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. And it was a good time to, exchange with people and meet people. It was also a good time to meet people that I had spoken to only online. You knew their name and you had some communication, and then you finally met them in person, and that was a wonderful thing.
Oh, good. Thank you so much, Rajene.
Mm-hmm.
Aafi, was this your first summit to attend?
Yes, this was my first and of course the last of its kind as well.
But you're on the Future Affiliates Committee, so we don't know about that. Yeah. So Aafi, tell us, why did you attend this summit, and what are the major results or achievements for this year specifically that you've got out of this summit?
Well, for me, the reason to attend the Wikimedia Summit was to bring forward the underrepresented South Asian perspectives to this global gathering, where the ideas of decision making or participation and representation is in question. So this was my main reason to attend the summit. For what?
Oh.
Could you repeat your second question, please?
What are the major results or achievements for this year you found? What was the best thing that came out of the summit this year?
I guess collectively agreeing on something and just being clear what we should do and what we should not be doing.
Great. So for guys, if this wasn't... Oh, sorry, Aafi, were you still saying something?
No, I guess I'm complete.
Oh, thank you so much, Aafi. So hey everyone, so I'm wondering, for those of you who have attended more than one summit, what is the difference between the other summits you attended and this summit? Maybe that would be Richard, Ciell, and Eva.
Sure. I guess, this summit had a very clear agenda in terms of focusing on the movement charter and some other aspects of global strategy. But it kept with the greatest thing about the summit, and I guess it's called the Wikimedia Conference before then, is the emphasis on the global aspect of the movement and really being able to meet and talk to people from all sorts of places and all sorts of circumstances and advancing the movement in a really globalized way. And that's the real goal, I think, of the movement charter is becoming and embracing a more global movement than we are currently, and building the mechanisms to make that possible and make that real. And so this was more action oriented in terms of evaluating and giving input to the movement charter, but it was living up to sort of the globally focused tradition, which was very valuable, I think.
Thank you so much, Richard. Ciell?
I have nothing to add. It was only my second time, and the first time it was also majorly about governance. I think in the early days, the Wikimedia conference was different. But I think I'm looking at Eva now, I think it's since 2017 that the summit has been focusing on governance, right?
I think the summit as like a format has been created in 2019, but I think already previously the Wikimedia conferences were focusing on the strategy process that started in 2017. So yeah, definitely. But to react to what Richard said, this year, I mean, what you mentioned was very intentional, because the Wikimedia Summit last year and in the previous edition was more of a space that was, it was a space for networking. It was a space for affiliate to come, to meet each other, to talk about their projects. And as amazing as this is, the feedback we received was that there was a lack of understanding of what the next steps are. And so we designed this year's summit with a very, very strong focus on on governance, and on the movement charter. Because of the timeline of the charter process, and B, because we really wanted to reach this point where there is like a real tangible outcome. And that's why we insisted on having these outputs that got then a level of support, and quite high level of support from everyone. And that's why we are so glad that there is Rajene Aafi and everyone else that is part of this group, that you guys stood up and said that you would take this forward and you would be working on this concept. So we have two very concrete outcomes in opposition to the previous years.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I see Butch was saying, I think moving forward, future summits would have a video of some sessions, or maybe video documentary available on Commons or YouTube. So we see you there, Butch. Thank you for watching. And yes, guys, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Let's watch some of the learnings and aha moments from some African Wikimedians that were interviewed at the summit. Thank you.
Rajene, can I maybe just quickly answer Butch's comment? Just want to say that the recordings will be made available on Commons. They should be happening by the end of next week.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Fuseini. I go with the username DNChitobu. I'm representing Wikimedia Summit.
Je suis Fawaz Tairou. Je suis du Bénin et je représente Wikimedia du Bénin User Group.
My name is Sadik Shahadu from Ghana, and I am the Executive Director for the Laban Wikimedians User Group, a language affiliate based in Ghana, working to support Mabia languages spoken across Ghana, Benin, and Burkina Faso.
اسمي عادل نحاوة. أنا أمثل المجتمع العربي.
I'm Jael Boateng from Ghana, and I'm the ED for Open Foundation West Africa. So I'm representing my affiliates here. Yeah.
Je suis Georges Fodouop, membre de Wikimedia Cameroun User Group. Je suis aussi en même temps membre du MCDC, Movement Charter Drafting Committee, qui est la commission chargée de la rédaction de la charte du mouvement Wikimedia.
My name is Isaac Olatunde from Nigeria. I'm also a member of WISCAM. And in this summit, I'm representing the Yoruba Wikimedians User Group. That's a language user group based in Nigeria.
Je suis Aboubacarkhoraa, connu sur le nom de Aboubacarkhoraa sur les projets Wiki. Et je représente le groupe d'utilisateurs Wikimedia Guinée-Conakry.
Yeah, so this is my second summit.
Okay.
I was here in 2022, and that was when we were looking at the drafts, and we are back again to continue the conversation. But whilst we're at home, I happen to be part of the Movement Charter Ambassadors for the Dagwani and Gurone community. Yeah, so we'll be having the conversation. What has stood out for me has been the consistent questions people have been asking about the Movement Charter, talking about roles, talking about rights, talking about responsibilities. So what specifically stands out for me basically is the fact that everyone believes this is the time we need at least a charter. This is the time we need a document this is the time we need a constitution, and constitutions are amendable. So if we get something now, in future it can still be amended. So we need to get something from or after this summit. So that is what stands out for me.
أكثر ما لاحظته هنا أني وجدت من يشاركني الفكرة، أنه ليست فكرة غريبة، أنه لا يوجد تمثيل للمجتمعات الغير منخرطة. ثاني أمر، تعلمت في هذا المؤتمر كيفية إجراء المحادثة والمناقشة والاستخلاصات المتعددة. كل هذه الأمور علمتني أو زادت من قدرتي على التعلم في كيفية تسير المناقشات، في كيفية استخلاص النتائج. يمكنني بهذه أن أقيم عدة ورشات أو جلسات مع المجتمع العربي لأنقل هذه الخبرة، حيث ربما أكون كمكون أو أكون مثل مسير لجلسة أو غير ذلك، وهذا سيفيد حتما المجتمع العربي، بالإضافة إلى نقل المعلومات حول ما يجري في الحركة من قرارات، من كيفيات إلى غير ذلك. وهذه كلها أمور مستجدة يمكنني أن أنقلها للمجتمع العربي. وأول عمل سأقوم به هو أني سأكتب تقرير ولو بسيط حول ما جرى في المؤتمر إلى المجتمع العربي.
What stood out for me was actually the working group sessions. I felt like it was so beautiful to get people from different walks of life come together to collaborate and then share ideas that we can see being implemented in the future.
Mon principal moment au cours de ce sommet, je dirais qu'il s'agit des communications lors de la première journée. Ce sont des communications au cours desquelles il y avait des informations très importantes qui avaient été diffusées, des idées, des orientations qui ont permis d'orienter et d'influencer, je dirais, les travaux, les jours qui ont suivi.
Welcome back from those experiences, guys. I hope you enjoyed them. So as we come to the end of Summit in Berlin, Eva, what did it feel like organizing the last summit?
Well, it was sad. Let me say this first. And I also want to insist, when I say we, Wikimedia Deutschland doesn't stop organizing the summit because we are fed up with it. No, we love it. We love the summit. We love organizing it. But we think it's a privilege, and that's now a privilege we want to share with others. So on one hand, yeah, it was sad, but also it was really exciting to see now this new group of people coming together and taking this forward. And we actually hope that now the next affiliate gatherings are going to be more aligned with our movement strategy, right? Like the strategy is all about changing the way we work together as a movement to make it more equitable, more inclusive. And in this context, then it doesn't really make sense that Wikimedia Deutschland would be organizing all the summits and making all the decisions and deciding how to shape the way affiliates come together. So I think it is great that now there is a group of affiliates coming together and answering the big questions of, what should these gatherings look like in the future? And yeah, it was, let's say on a personal level, it was a bit sad, but I think for the movement, it was actually great that this was the last summit of its kind.
So now we are looking onwards and forward to the future. I see Andrew in the comments saying that Wikimedia Summit or conference used to have more peer learning. Excuse me. That Wikimedia Summit and conference used to have more peer learning and learning days. So it would be interesting to hear about what the future looks like. I think maybe that's an aspect of the summit he enjoyed that was not yet there. So yeah, I think even as the team starts to think about the future, Rajene, what are your feelings about attending the last summit, especially since now you're on the committee that's determining the future?
Well, there were many, many great things at the summit that we would like to continue and reproduce. Most of which is gathering, people from all across the globe to come together to share ideas, to share learnings. So as a committee, our future affiliate gathering committee, we are still really at the beginning of brainstorming and deciding and envisioning. We have this, so at the summit, along with, working on the topics and continuing, some of us broke off for half a day to talk about the future of summit or affiliate conference. And we had this wonderful visioning exercise where we just kind of breathed and closed our eyes, and each of us thought of what we would like from another type of summit. So we have been sharing that. We have been looking at ways that we can accomplish getting everyone together. There are some constraints because there will be, of course, always Wikimania and more than likely the Global Council meeting. So having a third annual meeting may put some constraints on things, but we're working on that. We are also working with the foundation and getting some good advice from Wikimedia Deutschland. So we want to continue the whole feeling of coming together, sharing, learning, working on movement governments, but we have to figure out how to do it so that it makes sense, not only financially, but it makes sense in terms of whether it'll be online or it'll be a in-person gathering, what part of the globe it will be, what kinds of, there are differences between user groups and chapters. So we're putting all of that together. We're working with the foundation, we're working with Wikimedia Deutschland, and hopefully we'll have some sense of where we might like to go by August and present some ideas to Wikimania, and then gather some more people to help us with the planning. I don't know if Aafi wants to add to that a little bit.
Oh, I believe pretty much you have said everything that I wanted to. We are transitioning from something and making a new beginning. So, and at the same time, we are in conversations with Wikimedia Deutschland. We have their support. We are working with the Wikimedia Foundation. We look forward to having conversations with organizing teams of other global gatherings like Wikimania, though they are not affiliate, related, but somehow they are global gatherings that rotate. So we are into conversations.
Great. Thank you so much, Aafi and Rajene. So it's like a feeling of, this is sad, but it's like a rebirth, a chance to think of another way to do things. So for our viewers, feel free to tell us what you feel about the Wikimedia Summit, it being the last being hosted in Berlin, or it no longer being hosted by Berlin. What are your thoughts around it? Do let us know in the comments. But first, let's hear about the highlights of the topic groups from some of our African Wikimedians that joined in at the summit.
So my topic group was hubs and affiliates, and then my working group was on collaboration and capacity building. In my working group, the takeaways were that we should encourage peer support among hubs and affiliates and across hubs and affiliates. That was one main thing we talked about. We also talked about inbound support, that support from the foundation coming down to the hubs and affiliates. Yeah.
في المؤتمر أنا انضممت إلى مجموعة التمثيل وتكوين المجلس العالمي، لأنه تقريبا هي النقطة الهامة التي كنت أود مناقشتها، لأن التمثيل، كيفية التمثيل المجلس. وعند مناقشة الأمر مع المجموعة خرجنا بعدة خلاصات. أهمها أنه لابد من إيجاد طريقة لتمثيل المجتمعات الغير منظمة، وإضافة إلى توصية بتحسين الميثاق من جهة التكوين. هو جد الموضوع هو جد هام، لأنه سيغير تماما من وجه الحركة، لأن الحركة حاليا مكونة من مجلس أمناء، والباقي عبارة عن هيئات تابعة أغلبهم من الموظفين، والفئة الثالثة وهي الجهات الشقيقة التابعة لها. الآن بتكون هذا الرؤية الجديدة من المجلس العالمي ووجود مركز قرار جديد، ربما سيتغير وجه الحركة إلى الأبد، لأن سيكون هناك جزء كبير من المتطوعين الذين سيشاركون في صنع القرار، ليس مثل الآن ربما هم يشاركون في صنع القرار لكن من طريقة مخالفة تماما لما سيكون عليه المجلس العالمي الذي سيكون مباشرة. لا أقول أنه أتوقع هو سلاح ذو حدين، يمكن أن ينجح، إذا كان ناجحا سيكون جيد جدا، ولكن إن فشل سيكون سقوط حر.
Currently involved in the group 8, which is resource distribution, and we are discussing challenges that the community resource team are facing and how we can realign with their movement strategy and how best they can fairly distribute grants to affiliates across the movement. So the key takeaways are, how people struggle to, balance the differences between like resources that are channeled to affiliate and also the resources that are going to hubs, and how we can, break the barrier between affiliates that are working on specific projects and also affiliates that are working on like language projects, for example. So we want to see a fair distribution of funds that are distributed across the different affiliates, irrespective of what project they work on. So there should be like a fair distribution of funds across the movement.
Personnellement, j'ai beaucoup plus, même que ce soit dans le MCDC et de façon générale, j'ai beaucoup travaillé sur la question du Conseil mondial, et j'ai donc fait partie des différents groupes de travail durant ce summit sur le Conseil mondial, que ce soit le but, que ce soit la composition ou même son organisation, ses rôles, ses responsabilités. J'ai contribué et participé aussi dans les différents groupes de travail. Disons aussi que j'ai pu participer à un jeu de rôle qui nous a permis, en tant que membres des MCDC, de comprendre aussi que dans un contexte de mouvement comme le nôtre, il est important, voire urgent, d'avoir ou de mettre sur pied une entité qui serait véritablement chargée de la résolution des conflits, véritablement, qui serait chargée de la collecte des attentes, des plaintes, des réclamations, des revendications des membres, des affiliés et de toutes les composantes du mouvement. C'est vrai qu'on peut dire que cela existe déjà, mais véritablement, la responsabilité n'est pas définie de façon claire. Ce qui nous a aussi réjoui comme membre du MCD, c'est qu'il y a eu beaucoup d'appréciation du travail qui a été fait. Ce n'a pas été un travail parfait. C'est pour ça donc que nous espérons pouvoir collecter donc toutes les remarques, les propositions et les feedbacks pour refaire, pour réécrire la charte qui sera donc ensuite soumise à la communauté pour appréciation avant de passer aux différentes étapes supérieures.
My group was a hub and affiliate, the purpose and mandate. So we realized that the purpose and mandate has a significant impact of what the hub can do, basically, because the roles, responsibility, and expectation will determine what value it will add or what it's going to do differently from the existing structure. And if you look at it already, people are very worried of possible overlap with the existing structure. And I advocated for the raising of the bar. I don't want proliferation of up as much as possible. So I have proposed that we have at least 5, affiliate communities coming together to form a hub. I don't want 2 people coming together. That is collaboration. So let's have more people so that it's more structured and you can have it won't rely on police system where you have people contributing resources to actually towards the sustainability of the hub. So 2 people will not really do anything meaningful. They can collaborate on projects, but in terms of doing something really, really good, you need more people, more affiliate coming together to, form this all.
Welcome back from that. While we're away, Eva left us. Thank you, Eva, for being part of the call. So we're now going to move our discussion to the future of affiliates gathering, the understanding of the need of a future gathering and what it would look like. So Rajene, now point the light to you again. What, first of all, inspired you to join the team? Because it was really volunteer. They called out and people joined. And besides that, what do you think the next event should look like? And how will it differ from this summit?
So the way that I became involved and volunteered, we had maybe a year or 9 months ago, they had a call for anyone that might want to help. Since I believe they knew that this would be the last summit coming out of Deutschland. So we had a meeting, and then we had a meeting, I think in January, where if you were actually interested in helping to form what the future affiliate could be, we joined that meeting. I'm going to answer that question. I saw that. And then, and they had told us that, when you get to the summit, it's a 3-day summit. Most of it will be about the movement strategy and the different topics. But if you want to break off on Saturday afternoon and join the Future Affiliate Committee, you have the option to do that. So I was already ready to jump on that committee. So that's how I got into that big group of about 50 of us that were interested. And then we sort of talked and whittled it down, and those of us who volunteered to actually be on the committee met separately. So that's how I got on that committee. I kind of wanted to be from maybe months and months ago, and I just followed that through. Just to answer Andrew's question, the team will expand. Right now it's 8 of us, and these are the 8 that volunteered at the summit. But we do plan to expand because 8 of us cannot figure this out on our own. And it will most likely not be in Berlin. That's one of the mandates that we have, is trying to figure out what localities across the globe would like to or are available to host, how we would validate or how we would look at those different locations. Again, as I said, there's a big difference between user groups and chapters in terms of what they would like to see from future affiliate gatherings. So we want to sort of take that into consideration. And again, whether or not there should be 3 big meetings annually. Most likely, the affiliate gathering most likely will be every 2 years rather than once a year. So right now, this group is really talking about what could make the most sense and how we can incorporate all the very, very different ideas. Not all are very different, but many different ideas about what a future summit looks like. Again, it will be collaborative. It will be globally oriented. It will involve all affiliates that are interested. But other than that, it's kind of something that's morphing into what it could be based on what people have expressed they want, what the committee is looking at, what our advice from Wikimedia Deutschland is, what the foundation would like to see. So we're having meetings almost weekly, and we are continuing to have meetings in June. So it's not that we don't know what it's going to be. It's just we're just trying to look at all the variables of what it could possibly be, including whether it should be partially hybrid or only in person, or should it be a completely different kind of an event. So it's pretty much open now.
Great. Aafi, could you tell us what inspired you to be on the team, and what you think the next event should be like?
What inspired me to be the part of the team was, I guess, my voluntarily enthusiasm to be into something that we should do. I have been into the extended core organizing team of the Wiki Conference India the last year, and that is from where, I got this point that I should volunteer somewhere in this capacity if I.
Sorry, Aafi, I don't get you quite clearly. I don't know if it's just me.
No.
Oh, sorry about that. And we see Andrew asking if the committee, the Future Gathering Committee, is interested in including one Wikimania steering committee person right away as a liaison.
We are working with Jael, and she is offering to bring in other people. So, yes. We are balancing between understanding our own understanding of what the needs are as based on what has been requested and surveyed from affiliates, and then working with the foundation to understand what is their idea of the best need or the best way to present, as well as understanding from Wikimedia Deutschland what is actually needs to be done. So we have been meeting for the past 2 months. We are continuing to meet. We are gathering all of these. And yes, we are open to other people to join. And we are working with Jael right now from the foundation.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rajene, for that feedback. Right now, we're going to listen to some Future Gathering videos. Noni, if you could take this up.
Le dernier sommet de Wikimedia à Berlin est le premier pour le groupe d'utilisateurs Wikimedia Guinée. C'est un plaisir que ce sommet ne se termine sans qu'un Guinéen ne participe. Donc, nous voir ici aujourd'hui pour la première fois et que ce soit le dernier, c'est comme s'ils attendaient que le groupe d'utilisateurs de la Guinée pour finir avec Berlin. Ça fait plaisir. Et de savoir que le projet serait tournant et que ça va aller sur d'autres continents, d'autres villes du monde, ça fait plaisir parce que ça fait la beauté de changer de lieu et de découvrir d'autres horizons aussi. Ça fait plaisir.
Oh, this is a tough question, and the reason is that since this is the last summit, for me, I believe the future of summit will now be the Global Council. And the Global Council Assembly will now be like the meeting point for representatives, just like the Wikimedia Summit, to discuss the agenda and focus the way the movement should move here. So the Global Council is coming to successfully replace the Wikimedia Summit.
ما لاحظته في البداية كان قيام ويكيميديا ألمانية بهذا المؤتمر ونوع من الاحتكار، لكن ما رأيته من التنظيم، من قدرات ويكيميديا الألمانية في التنظيم وفي الإشراف وغير ذلك. وحسب المناقشات وجدت أنه في الأخير أنه سيصير مستقبل المؤتمر غامضا نوعا ما، لأنه إذا أخذته جهات أخرى بلدان أخرى يمكن أن يتعطل مثل ما حدث في عدة أمور، يمكن أن لا يصل إلى الهدف. كذلك الآن مع مناقشة ميثاق الحركة ربما بوجود مجلس عالمي لا ندري متى سينفذ، لكن بوجود مجلس عالمي ربما يفقد المؤتمر الغرض منه، لأنه سيكون المجلس العالمي القوة والقرار في الأخير.
I really hope that it doesn't end here. And then my hope is that in future we could get to rotate these gatherings, and other communities will also have the chance to host these gatherings. I believe that it could also count to knowledge sharing as people travel to visit other regions and countries, experience their beautiful culture, food and everything. It could also count as knowledge sharing, and then we will appreciate each other better. Yeah.
It was great hearing from our Wikimedians. Ciell, let's move to the movement charter. So what are the next steps? What is the process? Why is this charter still relevant? Why is it important? Give it to us, Ciell.
So the summit ended, or we came back from Berlin 4.5 weeks ago. Movement Charter Drafting Committee had a total of 3 weeks to rework the charter again. We received, I think it was 46 recommendations from the groups in Berlin, but we also received a lot of feedback through Meta, the talk page of the Movement Charter, and a lot of feedback through our ambassadors, the regional ambassadors that worked for us to connect to the communities and receive feedback from the local communities. What I want to say is, please don't expect us to work all 46 recommendations into the charter. It is just not that possible. Some recommendations were too detailed for the charter. We try to keep the charter as high level as we can. At the moment, we're working with a copy editor to make it a readable document again. I think we're still down to 11 pages, so that's not a lot, including footnotes. Next week is legal review. After that, it will be translations. The texts will be published on Meta. I expect them to be there on 19th of June. And a week later, 25th of June, the ratification vote will open and will last for 2 weeks. The voting closes on the 9th of July. And then we have to wait for the results.
Thank you, Ciell, for that update. People, feel free to tell us what your feelings around Movement Charter are in the comments. And Rajene, feel free to leave. I know you had wanted to leave earlier on. Mm-hmm. Lovely having you, and have a nice evening, morning.
You too.
I don't know what
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. So that batch in the comments was talking about the summit, existing summits already happening within regions, ECAP and East Africa. So I hear you, Batch, and we've got that feedback to the affiliate, to the future affiliate committee. And Richard, finally, what was it important to have the poll at the end? Can you tell the viewers how the final output was decided on at the summit?
Yeah, so I wasn't physically present for that section. I had to leave a little bit early to get home for a family holiday, but it's very important to get the feedback. We as a committee, we would definitely prefer specific feedback to general feedback, and it's great to have a bunch of topics where we can get some of the input of the affiliates. And we're trying to incorporate as many of them as we can. Obviously, we can't incorporate everything 100% because people, have some of the members of affiliates have one point of view, members of online communities have another point of view, the Wikimedia Foundation has another point of view, and they're often completely opposite. So it's our task to try to bring them together and try to find a solution that works for most people. And it's a very wiki type task, trying to come to some sort of consensus. But it's definitely helpful to have some of these discussions, and we're trying to bring in as many of the ideas as we possibly can in the 3 weeks of frantic rewriting that we've been doing since then. And these summits are great occasions for generativity in the movement, bring in new ideas, and hopefully we can establish, as we establish a bit of governance. I think maybe one of the features of the summit is maybe some more of that generativity in other areas. Like, for example, I say we have 2 representatives of WikiLove's Monuments, which was a great initiative that basically started at the Wikimedia Summit. It became possible because people were sort of accidentally brought together for a meeting of affiliates from different countries, and came together and said, hey, what do we have in common? One of the things we have in common is we all have official monuments in our countries, and we can encourage photography of the monuments, and we work on these projects together, and how do we develop voting and judging mechanisms, things like that, and developing these sort of decentralized mechanisms and fora for the movement is hopefully where governance can ultimately lead to, and getting a more effective globalization of the movement, rather than being more focused on these historic areas.
I'd very much like to second that, because it was one of our ambassadors from Africa. She did a presentation on a call I was in, and she mentioned we have to be very careful not to work in isolation. Don't only think about your local user group. Don't only think about your own project, but be aware that you're part of a global movement. And we have to stay connected. So I very much appreciate like all the national activities, because it's so much more accessible. It is, you don't have to get a visa. You hopefully you can get there in and out like in a day. You don't need 3 travel days to get to Europe. So I love it, but also let's make sure not to work on islands. And actually that's one of the things that the Global Council will try to bridge as well. The 4 functions that we proposed in the previous draft are remaining still in the final draft. And we think that connection should be emphasized through the collaboration work in the Global Council.
Great, thank you so much about that sharing and update of the movement charter. And thank you, you're the last man standing, man and woman standing here. So thank you for today. For sure, out of the summit, I got hope. I went within the summit with some sort of strategy fatigue, and I was re-energized, and now it felt like we were going somewhere, that there was some sense of direction. And even the flow of the summit itself, there was conclusions. This is what's going to happen. These are the next steps. This is who is in charge. Here are your recommendations. We will get them here. So thank you so much, MCDC, Wikimedia Deutschland, the Future of Affiliates Committee, for what you did at the summit, but what you're continuing to do for the movement. And thank you everyone for coming today. And for our viewers out there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for also being part of this. Thank you so much for being part of this. Follow us on the WikiAfrica page. It's on Facebook. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Connect with us on our social media handles. And don't miss WikiAfrica Hour in June. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Today's guest host was Toshi Precious Friday from Nigeria. Nonin Tata is today's news reader. WikiAfrica Hour is a production of Wiki in Africa that supports the development of the Wikimedia movement across Africa. Tell us on social media which topics you want to discuss, and join us next month, same time, same channel.
Hit the subscribe bell to stay open and up to date, and follow WikiAfrica on social